Hey, Trojan Nation, welcome back to another Tune In Trojans broadcast. I'm your host, Madi Kaplan. Today, we're going to be talking about some great past performances from our football team, our volleyball team, and we're going to get to hear some great updates going into championships for our cross country team. To kick off this broadcast, we're going to check out some highlights from the past football game against Valley City State Vikings. Let's go check that clip out.
Dakota State, and he's a left-footed place kicker. This is a field goal attempt from 25 yards. It's on the way, and it's good. And Dakota State will take the first lead today. Arms up, arms down, now takes the snap, drops back, looks to throw, squares his shoulders, right side, wide open, touchdown throw to the far sideline, and Dakota State will be within a point at 10-9. Shotgun Brooks going to throw near side. Wide open tight end on the 30, the 35, the 40. The pass caught by Derek Simonson. He's inside Viking territory, the 45, the 40, and spun down at the 37-yard line. Just inside the Viking 10 and around the 7-yard line. They'll give to Ortman, sneaking up the middle of the football field, drives his way to the end zone, and he's in for a Dakota State touchdown to cut the lead to 2. Chambers dropping back, pressured, steps in, throws, and he threw it away. It's picked off on the far side of the field by Dakota State's Aiden Youngers. Correction, Mason Lloyd. Lloyd's on the far side return. Zach Brooks out of the pistol. Waiting for a shotgun snap, got it. Gives it away up the middle to Ortman. Now takes it back and throws out of the backfield in the zone read. And he's got his tight end for a first down and more inside the 15 and down to the 11-yard line.
Hey, Trojan fans, I am joined by head football coach Josh Anderson today. The Trojans recently played Valley City State this past weekend, winning the game in a fourth quarter thriller, 31-17. Coach, can you break down the first half of the game and what was your kind of mindset going into the locker room? You guys were down 1 point at halftime. What was kind of the process going on there?
I was actually pretty pleased with the way things were going and how they were developing. We were just trying to offensively grind the clock as much as we could, trying to get 4 yards every play, or at least on average, and just trying to get some first downs. Number one, just to keep some drives alive so that we could help with field position. You know, if we weren't able to score, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown, we were just trying to gain some yardage, keep our defense off the field, and if needed, to flip the field with a punt, and then allow our defense and our special teams to, set the offense up with some better field position. Even if we got a punt back, being able to set us up with maybe like 10 to 15 to 20 more yards from where we left off, and then continuing to grind from there. This year, we're not very high profile, super high scoring, big play offense, and that's okay. We have what we have, and we've just come to grips with the fact that we're a grinded out offense. The biggest thing is if we don't turn the ball over offensively, it's the biggest asset we have to just maintain control and work the time of possession, as well as to help our defense out, not to put them in tough situations like we have in a few games. And so I was really pleased. There were some special team situations that maybe just didn't go our way. We had a fumble, we had a missed PAT, we had some other situations going on where we just needed to stay focused, get on track, and correct those things. And so in the second half, we were able to do that. And it ended up being the biggest helper for us because as we got into that second half, just controlling the ball offensively and allowing our defense and special teams to set us up with some good field position. And then that happened in the fourth quarter, and we were able to capitalize when we needed.
For sure. And that fourth quarter was really fun to watch. Even the end of the third quarter, what it seemed on the field at one point, the momentum just changed. And did you see that from the sidelines? And when you saw that, if you did, what did you kind of change, or did you change anything, to kind of finish out the game?
Honestly, just capitalizing on the mistakes that happened. I had a feeling that this game would come down to that momentum, as well as just whichever team made the least amount of mistakes, because we really matched up well. Two really good, very experienced, tough defenses. I thought our special teams both were very sound and very good. And offensively, just some young guys in some young spots, or some key spots, some young guys in key spots. And so it really came down to, if we were forced to do things we're not comfortable with compared to forcing them to do things they're not comfortable with. And we were able to take advantage of that with about 8 minutes left to go in the game. in the fourth quarter, we were driving into the wind and actually throwing the ball quite well. We just had some penalties offensively that really pulled us back. It was like a 3rd and 26. And so it was frustrating. But at the time, I was thinking, well, we're at least throwing the ball and catching the ball going into the wind. We're going to need to capitalize on that once we get the ball back. But we had to punt, obviously. And so when we punted, their returner tried to catch the ball inside the 5-yard line, ended up bouncing off his chest, and our guys were sitting right there to jump on it. And that right there is when the momentum changed, because then the very next play, we were in the end zone. We were down 2. We went for 2. We made it work on a 2-point conversion, and so we ended up tying it up. And then on the ensuing kickoff into the wind, just like that punt was into the wind, and it was an extremely good punt, and then a really good kick. They let it hit the ground. It kind of bounced around a little bit, which gave our coverage a chance to get caught up and get down there. And we made a tackle inside the I think inside the 5-yard line. And then the very next play, our defense stripped the ball from the quarterback, and then the next play we were in. So now, just in a matter of honestly 6 plays, right back to back, including 2 special teams plays, now we went from being down. What was it, 8? It was 17 to 9. Yep, we were down 8.
Yep.
We went from being down 8 to being up 7, and then our defense did a great job of shutting them down, got an interception. We got the ball back, and then offensively off that interception, we were able to grind it out and actually punch it in with about just over a minute to go in the game. Now we're up 14, and so I was just really pleased with how methodic and basic and simple our offensive played without trying to get too fancy, and our defense just holding their water, doing a great job of keeping the big plays at a minimum, forcing them to get first downs and to put long drives together, and then special teams wise for us to be able to overcome the issues that we had. Honestly, in the first 3 quarters, we had some issues, because then we had a field goal that we were lining up for when we were only down 10 to 9 still in the middle of that 3rd quarter with the wind at our back. We ended up either the snap was a little off or the hold was a little off, but either way, it just didn't work out. We almost caught it for a first down. Cooper McDermott did a great job of trying to get it off, but it didn't work out. But essentially, for us to have that maturity to not be kicking a can and being down and knowing that hey, there's plenty of game, we still need everybody on board. And obviously, we did a great job in the 4th quarter with the special teams to set up great field position, and then the defense also took advantage of the field position and created great opportunities for the offense, and then the offense capitalized on it too. So all 3 phases really in that 4th quarter finally came to life and did their job and made sure we came away with that win.
Okay, Coach, looking at your guys' next matchup, you guys are going to be back at Trojan Field again, which is always exciting. We love having you guys back. You'll be playing against Presentation next. What are some goals that your team is looking to accomplish? This is the second to last home game that's going to be played on Trojan Field. What are some things you guys are looking to accomplish?
Honestly, we just want to take care of the things that we can control. Offensively, we want to try and stick with the same game plan of it just, whether it's a short pass, a deep pass, a quick run, long run, it doesn't matter. On average, we want to try to be at that 4-yard mark. We just want 4 yards and first downs offensively. Making sure we don't turn the ball over and setting our defense up with poor field position or in a hole or in a grind that way. And then special teams wise as well, we want to just be sound. We want to make sure we've got good snaps, good catches, good kicks, and then covering kicks, whether it's punts or kickoffs. We just have to be super sound in all that stuff, because all it takes is just a few plays like we saw this last game with Valley City. Just a few plays that don't go your way can really reset the whole game as far as momentum and scores and things like that. So we just want to be basic, simple, play aggressive, fast, and don't do anything too crazy, and just play our game and not worry about who we're playing against. It doesn't matter. Presentation may not have the best record, but when you watch them on film, they've got plenty of good athletes, and they've got a really good, fast, athletic defense. And so we will never get caught up on a record of an opponent or our own. We will always continually try to play to the standard of what it takes to be successful to win a game.
For sure. Well, Coach, thanks again for coming in and giving us a breakdown of that great last game that you guys had. We're looking forward to having you guys back here at Trojan Field, and we hope that you guys have a great week leading up to this next game.
I appreciate it. It's always fun talking to you.
Hey, Trojan Nation, I am joined by head cross-country coach Anthony Drealan. The Trojans recently competed in the Holiday Inn Express Classic hosted by Dordt University. Coach, would you mind giving us a quick breakdown of how this last meet went for your teams?
Absolutely. Yeah. It was a great meet for us down at Dort. And on a global level, looking at our team averages and team times, we made excellent progress as compared to where we were at in September. And the course was very conducive to that. It was a flatter, faster course, and so we knew that we could go into that and run a lot faster, and we did. So we had a lot of personal bests across the board. On the women's side, Lindsay Roth led us again and ran a season best about 1932 and placed in the top 25 in a pretty competitive meet. A lot of really good ranked NAI schools and some D2s in there. That was good. So she ran great. Madeline Silva was our second runner again, ran 1951, a new PR for her. And then senior Jada Anderson really popped a good race for where she's been at and was about 2030. And so it was some really good progress there. And then the rest of the women ran great and progressed well as well. And we put ourselves in the position, comparing to the conference that, we're going to be in the hunt and really trying to, be able to place as high as we possibly can. And we knew that, this is something that we were capable of, but it's one thing to know that and another thing to go out and execute it. So that should be a pretty big confidence booster for the team and for everyone. So it was really happy with that. And then on the men's side, Cody Farland led us again, and earned another North Star Runner of the Week honors, and he's run the fastest time in the conference this year. He ran a big PR, 25:33. I think it's the 18th or 19th fastest 8K time in DSU history, and he placed 18th in a really really competitive field. And that's the type of time, knowing he could get down to it, that he has an outside chance to be an All-American in cross country, and you have to place top 40 at the national championships to do that. But now he's in the realm of possibility on the course at nationals. Not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but and we got to qualify for that. But if he improves another 20, 25, 30 seconds, I think there's a possibility, and I think it's something that he can possibly do. So that was really good. And then we had I think 6 men under 27 minutes. It was great progress. A lot of PRs there. Taylor Myers was our second runner. I think Coulter Elklin was our third runner. Martin Bailey's our fourth runner, and they were really packed tight. Which there's a lot of depth there, and ran really well. We probably haven't ever had that many men under 27 minutes for 8K in a long time, if ever. So that was awesome to see. We held one athlete out in our top 5. Curtis Johnson had a sprained ankle, but he should be back next meet. So that even adds more to the depth that we potentially can have. And so we did really well there. For comparison's sake, our women ran pretty close to what they ran here in 2019, and our men ran about the same time on this course that they did in 2019 when they placed 21st in the country. So a couple of good marking points, in comparison to previous years. But overall, really happy. From top to bottom, it was a really good progress for us, and it should be a pretty good confidence booster for the team.
For sure. And this next meet is at Mount Marty. It's your last regular season meet of the season before championships. And the course is a little bit different. It's a little hilly if I'm remembering it right. So, what are some goals that you're wanting your athletes to lead into going into this last regular season meet?
Yeah, from a personal standpoint, I think, there's some ups and downs. As long as it's not extremely windy, because there's not much tree cover out there, it can run pretty quick. So I think it's feasible for most of the athletes to try to go out and run a personal best again. So I think that's something that they can do and do well. But from a team standpoint, I think Dickinson State's coming down, so we'll see at least one conference school there, and that's obviously a big a rival and team competitor of ours. So that'll be great to be able to see them and really try to match up and beat as many runners as possible, and hopefully beat them from a team perspective as well. So that'll be something that we focus on. But overall, it's going to be about, all right, final run in the sense of preparing for our conference championships, and to really try to work out any errors or tactical errors that a person makes, or any potential changes into how they go out in the race and that sort of thing. It's really just it's a test run. It's our final run, where we're going to be in really good shape, ready to show that fitness on the course, and go out and execute a strong race before we go to the conference championships. The sport is hard in that you're building up, for this conference and hopefully nationals, and you can have a great year all year, and you might have a bad day at conference, and that's unfortunately what you only remember. And so, that's something where, as a coach, you help people see the good and the bad, and have a sense of pride in what they've done. But for where we're at now, it's about preparing for that conference meet and just doing our last chance to try to run fast and before we go into the team hunt. So.
For sure. Well, and we're talking a lot about courses today, but I think there's a lot to talk about when it comes to courses, because to talk a little bit more on the championship meet, you guys are going to be in Dickinson, North Dakota. Um, in the past, when you guys have ran on that course, how has that course kind of ran for your team in the past?
Yeah, it can be a pretty quick course. It's probably kind of comparison to the Mount Marty course we'll go to next. It's on a golf course. The footing is good. A lot of it's run in shorter rough or even fairway. So like you're not having really tall grass or anything like that. There's some gradual ups and downs. Some longer gradual hills that you have to battle through. But in comparison to some of the courses that we run early in the season, it's not challenging as you compare to those. So it's one of those types of courses where I think what you do in the first mile, the first 25-30% of the race, really puts you in a position to kind of hold that position and hopefully move up. And if you allow yourself to get gapped early on or halfway through the race, it's really hard to make up that ground, because you don't have the course that's going to do some of the damage for you to other runners. And so it's important to probably be a bit aggressive in early on in the race, and really be sticking with people and not have a lapse in effort or focus and get gapped, because that's hard to make up on a course that's going to run pretty quick. So it can be a course, I think, at Dickinson where we can run pretty fast, as long as it's not 2 inches of snow and 20 degrees, which is obviously a possibility. But it'll be really competitive. I ran conference myself there in 2007, so we've gone up there several times since even I'm running there, and our team has been up there, and so it's definitely a course, I think, comparing to the national course, that'll be similar, because the national course down in Tallahassee is pretty flat, pretty fast, and has a couple of gradual inclines, but it's on a golf course type surface as well. So it's probably a pretty good practice for that if we're fortunate enough to make it.
For sure. Well, Coach, thanks again coming in, giving us a great breakdown. We're so excited for cross country and what's coming up. We're excited to see you guys run again at Mount Marty, and we hope that you guys have a great week leading up to that next meet.
Thank you, Maddie. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Have a good one. Hey, Trojan Nation. I am joined by head volleyball coach Amy Veenhof. The Trojans recently played Waldorf University, where they came back from a 2-set deficit to win 3-2. Coach, this game was just all over the place. It was wild. But what were some things that really set the performances apart from the first 2 sets to the last 3 sets?
Sure. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was very wild. And it was the first time this season that we got down 2 sets and then came back and won in 5. I think it was good in a way because we had that experience and we know that we can and anything can happen. That's why we play best of 5. It's not just, 1, 2, 3 sets, it's best of 5. So even getting down 2 and then having to fight back and not giving in was really important for the team to pull it out then in 5. Um, difference wise, the first set was pretty close and we had opportunities and we just didn't make plays when we needed to. And then the second set wasn't as close. We had a little bit of a letdown there, and 3, 4, 5. I think a big thing is serve and pass, being consistent and really working to get us in system, passing the ball so that we can our offense is much better when we can get in system. So I think that is one of the big focuses. And, when we pass well, our offense, is pretty good. And so that makes a big impact on whether or not we win or lose. And then serving tough and serving teams out of system, so that, they can't get going as good offensively. That's, really, really important too. And I think probably looking back at the stats from that match, 1 and 2, we struggled offensively a little bit more so. And then 3, 4, 5, we kind of got going. Defensively too, defensively too, we struggled and then really did a much better job finding their hitters and digging their balls up because Waldorf stayed pretty aggressive and was really swinging tough. And so we needed to make some adjustments and we did that. So I think that those were kind of the big things was the serve and pass. And then just offensively, we were able to be a little bit better in 3, 4, and 5 than we started out. So.
For sure. Well, it certainly was a really fun game to watch and experience and watch the stats kind of come in. Now, volleyball is well into their season at this point. You guys are going to be looking to quarterfinals and finals coming up here in the next month and a half or so. What is there anything performance-wise that you guys are really wanting to focus on to tighten up before you guys kind of go into this end of the season?
Mm-hmm. I would say, defensively, we've been pretty solid all year. I think we're towards the top in the NAI for total digs, if not still the leader. So I mean, we're defensively we're doing a good job and blocking too. At the net and off the net defensively, we're doing a really good job. So I think the biggest thing for us is going to be executing our offense. Getting more consistent and staying aggressive and keeping to work. Keeping at working at hitting different shots offensively, spreading the ball out a little bit more with our players, and that's going to be a big thing moving forward that we're going to have to do if we want to make a run here towards the end of the season.
Right, right. And just some kind of exciting news now because it's been the volleyball team recently got some new jerseys in. That's so exciting. We're going to be able to watch you guys play here because you guys are going to be home
Yeah.
now, kind of in and out these next couple of matches. So basically, to Trojan Nation, come to these next upcoming home matches. These ladies are going to be fancying their new jerseys. Come support the Trojans. Coach, thanks so much again for coming in, giving us a quick little update. We're so excited to see you guys play at home again here. And we hope you guys have a great match tonight and the great week leading up to your guys' next home match as well. So thanks for coming in.
Sounds good. Thanks, Maddie.
Thank you for tuning in to another Tune In Trojans broadcast, everyone. If you want to stay updated on all of the upcoming events, games, and matches, you can find us at www.dsuathletics.com to see all of the upcoming stats, link to videos, links to our YouTube to find all of the upcoming games and matches that you would want to watch. And until next time, go Trojans.